Hello and welcome back to linuxjobber.com, where we prepare you for Linux jobs. My own name is Sean Joseph and I will be preparing you for Linux jobs today. My email is showpopulous@gmail.com, so feel free to send me any questions and I'll be sure to answer them for you. For today, we would be looking at our website linuxjobber.com, and we're going to be looking at module 8. Let me scroll down to module 8, networking basics. And these are the tutorials that are available, video tutorials, and we'll be looking at the practice module number 8. And we have done question number 5 on this previously in previous videos. Go ahead and see that. And now we'll be doing question number 6, and it says to ensure that your storage space has some space in there, has some space left in there. You're going to create a new partition using this space, mount it in this new partition, which means we're going to have to create new partition and create an empty file called new part in that partition. So now this question has about 3 different parts. That's probably going to earn you about 9 points on a typical exam. So let's go and take a look at what we need to do to solve this question. So first, let's ensure that we have a storage space and it's got some space left in there that we can create a new partition. Let's go and do that. Hello there and welcome back to linuxjobber.com, where we prepare you for your next Linux job. My own name is Sean Joseph and I'll be showing you this video today. We prepare you for your next Linux job. My email is showpopulous@gmail.com, so please feel free to send me any questions and I'll be sure to answer them for you. Now let's go and look at our video for today. What we will be looking at today is we'll be going to our website linuxjobber.com and we'll be looking at module number 8. Let me scroll down to module number 8. Module number 8, networking basics. That's what we will be looking at today. These are the videos that you need for tutorial if you want to watch them, and we'll be looking at practice number 8 for today. In previous videos we have done question number 5 for module number 8, so if you want to, you can go and look at it. And the next one is question number 6, and we'll be doing this today. It says to check and ensure that you have enough storage space, create a new partition using the space, and then mount the new partition, and it gives us the name of the mount point. So this question has about 3 parts and we would have to do them separately. In a typical exam, a question like this will probably earn you about 9 points. So let's handle each task separately. First, let's go and check and ensure that we have storage space. Now let's open up our terminal. Now I'll start my test looking for free space with fdisk. If we open up fdisk, you can see I have one physical device on this machine, and this physical device has this many partitions, 5 of them. And if you look at my cylinders, where they start and where they end, you can see that I have no space left. But luckily, I do have LVM on the physical partitions. And if we can use LVM, we may, just may be able to create logical partitions. Now, let's go and see if we have space on our volume groups where we can put logical partitions. So if we do a VG display, this will display all of our volume groups. How many volume groups do I have on this machine? I have VG display, I have 1, and then I have, here's 1, volume group 00, and here's the second one, VG01. So on volume group 00, if we look at free space, there's nothing left. You can see that it's totally used, it's finished. So that's out of the question. Now let's look at the second one. If you look at the second one, you can see that I still have a few space left. So I may be able to squeeze about 100 megabytes out of this, hopefully. So now let's try to do that. I will now enter the command lv create, which will create logical volume, which is a partition. So if we do this, look at the command here. It says lv create this size and give it a name, test lv, using this volume group VG01. So now let's run that and see what we get. Oh, it was successfully created. So now we have, if we do lv display, in addition to our existing logical volumes on this machine, we now have a logical volume called test lv. Now this is a new partition, and then it says to mount it. To mount it, we need to put a file system, ext3 file system on it. We can put any file system, but I'm just going to use ext3 makefs ext3. So I'm going to put a file system on it, because if you don't put a file system on it, funny enough, logical volumes will mount. Ordinary volumes will not mount, like physical volumes will not mount, but logical volumes will mount, and it will give you a problem in the end. So it's better to make your file system before you mount and create files in the file system. So let's do this. So now we have an ext3 file system created. So now it says to, let's look at the second part of the question. It says to, we already checked that we have space. It says to create a new partition using this space. We already did that. And it says to mount the partition in MNT new partition. Now let's go and do that. Let's see what we have inside MNT. ls MNT. There's nothing in there, so I'm going to make directory MNT new partition. So now it's created. When you look at it, now we have a partition called new partition, and create an empty file in new partition. So now we have to mount our new partition lv, test lv, on new partition. Now this is where a lot of people make mistakes on the exam. When you create new partition, you can simply forget to mount your newly created partition on here and simply just touch new partition. This is where people make mistakes on the exam. And then you create a file called, let's call it bad new partition. If you look in the file system, it's there. Bad new partition. The file system we have touched, the empty file, we have created an empty file as requested by the question. But the file that we have created is not the one, it's not in the place where the question wants it to be. Again, let's go over it again. We created a mount point called new partition. We did not mount our partition on it. We just created an empty file in that new mount point. Basically, this is a directory. That's not what the question is asking us. Let's look at the question. The question says mount your new partition in here, and then create an empty file called new part in that partition. So when the script is marking your paper, it would look in this new partition, in that LV, in that Linux volume, and it would not, in that logical partition, and then it will not see your new partition in there. and then you get the whole question wrong. So it's called new part, and we have to put it in the new partition. So first we have to do a mount. Then we're going to put our mount point VG01, and then it's going to be test LV. Now we can put this in our mount point new partition. If you look at new partition now, you will not see ls mount new partition. You can see that the content of this new partition is different from the content of the old partition, which is just a directory, is different from the content of this new partition. Even though they have exactly the same path, the content is different. So don't forget to mount your new partition, otherwise you will get the whole question wrong. And now that we have mounted it, now we can touch a new file in there, which means we're touching inside our new partition now a file called new part, an empty file. And then if you look inside the partition now, you can see the content, it's still different from the original content, because this one will now become just nothing but a directory, and this is our partition. Very important. So thank you very much. We have solved that problem. Let's see if we have anything else for that question. And that's the end of it. Thank you very much for watching this video. My own name is Showunmi Joseph at linuxjobber.com, preparing you for Linux jobs and for your certificates. So please email me showpopulous@gmail.com if you have any questions, and I'll be sure to answer your questions for you. Thank you very much again, and have a nice day.